Imagine having one of the richest neighborhoods in the world, but slowly watching your house fall behind everyone else's. Europe is wealthy, with Germany now the third largest economy. Most countries enjoy stability, strong education, and high living standards. Yet despite all of this, Europe is falling behind. Economists are sounding the alarm. Europe is stuck in slow motion. The economy isn't growing fast enough, productivity is weak, and innovation is slipping through its fingers. And here's the twist. Many of these problems were caused by Europe itself. Let's break it down. What went wrong, and what can still be done to turn things around? A slow slide. While the US surges ahead, to really see the issue, just look across the Atlantic. The United States has taken off like a rocket over the past 2 decades, pulling far ahead in economic power, tech innovation, and global influence. And it's not just Europe that's been outpaced. China, despite being a fast-growing economy, is also slowing down. So you could argue that it's not that Europe is failing, it's that the US has become supercharged. But that's not the full picture. Europe has more people than the US, better education in many areas, safer cities, and historically strong industries. It has everything it needs to be a global economic leader. So why isn't it? The answer lies in a few key areas where Europe has shot itself in the foot: immigration, innovation, industry, integration, and energy. Immigration. Europe's economy faces a slow-moving storm, one that many leaders see coming but few are ready to fix. The continent needs more workers to grow, but its immigration system is out of sync with economic needs. Population growth is stalling. Every EU country now has a fertility rate below the 2.1 needed to sustain itself. Italy sits at 1.24, Germany at 1.36. Without enough babies being born, immigration should be the answer. And it has been, sort of, but not the right kind. In 2022, 75% of new arrivals came through family reunification or asylum, according to the European Commission. Compare that to countries like Canada, which brought in 471,000 immigrants in 2023, most of them skilled professionals with money, education, and jobs waiting. Europe's system rarely filters for economic value. Germany, despite its need for engineers and IT specialists, grants only 25% of its visas for work or study. Meanwhile, Europe is bleeding talent. Over 2.5 million highly skilled citizens have moved abroad, mostly to the US and UK. And while media focus on newcomers and border concerns, the real threat is this brain drain. The UK, for instance, cut skilled worker visas to a 10-year low in 2024, even as industries scream for help. Europe doesn't just need more immigrants, it needs the right ones. Work more? Not really. You'd think Europe could fix the problem by working harder, but it's not that simple. Yes, labor force participation is actually higher in Europe than in the US, meaning more people are either working or looking for work. But that's mostly because older people are staying in the workforce longer, not because of new energy or productivity. And when Europeans do work, they work fewer hours. Countries like Germany, France, and Spain value time off. It's great for quality of life, but not ideal for economic output. So growing the population is tough. Working more isn't popular. And Europe is losing its best talent. That leaves one option: giving the people who remain better tools to do more with less. Energy crisis. Energy is closely tied to wealth. The richer a country gets, the more energy it uses, whether it's for homes, factories, or transport. And countries with cheap energy often have a big economic advantage. For a long time, Europe had that advantage, thanks to cheap natural gas from Russia. But after Russia's invasion of Ukraine, that energy source disappeared. Prices soared. Industries suffered. And to make things worse, Germany, the manufacturing heart of Europe, decided to shut down its nuclear power plants just as the energy crisis hit. Right now, Europe is investing heavily in renewable energy. That's great in the long term. But wind and solar take time to build and still aren't enough to meet all of Europe's needs. Meanwhile, Asia and the US are moving faster and producing cheaper energy. Even Europe's top companies are struggling. Volkswagen recently closed plants in Germany. BMW's largest factory isn't even in Europe. It's in South Carolina, USA. This is a sign of the times. big European brands are moving factories abroad to avoid high energy costs and tight regulations at home. Industry. Losing the edge. Europe used to lead the world in manufacturing. Today, it's being left behind. Expensive energy, strict environmental rules, and high wages make it hard for companies to build things in Europe. So instead, many European businesses are investing abroad, especially in the US and China, where it's cheaper and closer to major markets. Yes, the profits still flow back to Europe, but jobs don't. That means fewer opportunities for European workers and a weaker connection between growth and wages. This loss of industry is painful, but the real trouble lies in Europe's biggest weakness: innovation. Where is Europe's Silicon Valley? If you want to understand why the US economy is booming, look no further than its powerful tech sector. American giants like Google, Apple, Microsoft, and Tesla are at the cutting edge of global innovation, constantly pushing boundaries and shaping the future. These companies aren't just successful, they're cultural and technological icons, fueling massive economic growth. Meanwhile, Europe trails behind. Sure, there are bright spots like ASML, the Dutch firm that makes the ultra-precise machines used to produce advanced computer chips. It's a global leader. But aside from a few exceptions, Europe struggles to create major tech powerhouses. Why? Several key factors hold it back. Language diversity makes it harder to scale startups across borders. Strict EU regulations, while great for consumer safety, can choke innovation before it begins. And unlike the US, Europe lacks a deep pool of venture capitalists ready to bet big on risky ideas. Even talented European founders often look to the US for funding, growth, and exits. Many end up mimicking American startups, localizing them for European markets, and selling them back. Clever, yes, but it doesn't lay the foundation for long-term global dominance. Quality of life versus economic power. Here's the plot twist. Even though Europe is falling behind in raw economic output, many people in Europe still live better lives than Americans. That's right. Despite having lower salaries, Europeans enjoy cheaper healthcare, better public services, and more affordable education. In many places, people have more time off and less stress. So, is Europe really losing? Economically, yes. But when it comes to daily life for ordinary citizens, Europe still has the edge in many ways. The danger is, if economic stagnation continues, it could erode these advantages over time. In conclusion, Europe isn't doomed, it's just stuck. The good news? Many of its biggest economic problems are self-inflicted, which means they can absolutely be fixed. With bold choices, Europe can still lead. It starts with smarter immigration to bring in skilled workers, cutting the red tape that chokes innovation, and betting big on startups. Energy? Go green. Solar, wind, even nuclear if needed. Bring manufacturing home, but do it sustainably. And don't forget education. It's the secret weapon to keep talent thriving. Europe doesn't have to mimic the US. It just needs to believe in its own power again. The clock's ticking. If Europe doesn't move fast, the world won't wait. For more thought-provoking content, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Tap the bell icon so you never miss an update, and share your thoughts in the comments below. We appreciate your support.